Today we are talking about Bloomerang's integration with Qgiv, particularly Qgiv's peer-to-peer platform, how to do peer-to-peer events, why is that important right now, and how that all flows seamlessly into Bloomerang. Joining us today is Justin Cook, our product marketing manager from Qgiv. I'll let him introduce himself here in a little bit, but I've learned a lot about his 5 pets that he has at home and that he keeps him busy at home. And if you need any triathlon tips, Justin might be your guy, but maybe save those questions at the end. Thanks for joining us today, Justin. Welcome.
Happy to join, and I will go ahead and take the screen over here.
Awesome, I can see it.
Thank you, Diane. I'm so happy that you guys could join us today. My name is Justin Cook. I'm the product marketing manager here at Qgiv. So I've been with Qgiv for a little over 2.5 years, and my expertise is in digital marketing and optimizing the user journey. I do enjoy volunteering at different nonprofits here in Lakeland. In fact, I head up our volunteer committee when we are actually in the office and able to return to some of those activities that we were doing in the past. And as Diana mentioned, I do have 5 animals. I have 3 dogs and 2 cats. You can see their little faces there. They keep me busy at home, but I love them all so much. So a little bit about what we're going to be covering today. We're going to take a look at peer-to-peer events today in the virtual environment and what those look like in the future. We'll cover some great examples of peer-to-peer fundraisers from Qgiv clients. We'll take a deep dive into Qgiv's peer-to-peer tools, show you how the integration between Qgiv and Bloomerang operates, cover some pricing support for our different packages here at Qgiv, and as Diane mentioned, we will have a Q&A at the end of this session. So a quick poll, who has hosted or participated in a peer-to-peer event in the past? And if you have, go ahead and drop in a little bit. What did you like about your peer-to-peer event?
Thanks, Justin. So far, it looks like about 48% of our respondents have hosted a peer-to-peer event in the past.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
experienced people here.
Yeah, and if you'd like to let us know in the chat, let us know what has worked well with it or what you like about the peer-to-peer event.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and move on then. So why is peer-to-peer fundraising amazing? It's because we said so. Not even sorry. But I'm really just kidding. Peer-to-peer is a powerful fundraising tool that your organization can and should add to your fundraising toolkit. And as Paulina mentions in here, it provides more engaging opportunities, which is exactly what it does. It's an amazing way of connecting with new people, says Gilberto Gonzalez. It is, and peer-to-peer fundraising is so great. And it's amazing how different organizations have utilized it, not only before COVID, but post and transitioning to the virtual world. Love it. I love to see that people are finding success. And one of those great things about peer-to-peer fundraising is that it empowers supporters to raise funds on your behalf of your organization. They reach out to their friends and their family for funds. And why is that important? It's proven time and time again in business, recommendations from friends and family are highly valued, and it's no different with fundraising. When someone raises money for a cause that they care about, friends and families are more than happy to help them out. And that's why peer-to-peer fundraising is so powerful. Your organization will be able to reach new supporters who may or may not have ever heard about your organization before. You'll be able to increase awareness of your mission and build deeper relationships with your most loyal supporters. So what's the secret? What makes peer-to-peer fundraising so great? And the secret to peer-to-peer fundraising are the tools that empower you and your participants to do more. For example, gamification. Make fundraising a game. Gamification keeps your participants involved with your event and to keep raising funds for your organization. Participants can earn badges based on their performance, and that encourages them to keep going to raise those funds, even when they're discouraged. Being able to offer that type of support to them, give them a competitive environment, participants love it. And as I mentioned, fundraising leaderboards encourage friendly competition among individual participants and teams. Overall, gamification is an important part of keeping your participants engaged and raising funds. Another great thing are fundraising emails. They're a staple in fundraising. So make it easy for your participants to send emails, provide resources for them, such as email templates and fundraising best practices or tips. Another great thing, social sharing tools. Social media is a great way for participants to reach out to their friends and family en masse, which makes it easy when you have social sharing tools with your fundraising platform. Fundraising tools that also integrate with Facebook fundraisers enable participants to set up a donation form on Facebook itself, so their friends and family can donate to your cause without ever leaving Facebook, which is really great for the user journey. Finally, providing a seamless experience for not only your participants, but those that are working with your organization, especially when your fundraising platform includes features and tools that will help participants fundraise virtually. The ability to embed live stream video, embed activity apps such as Strava, and providing text giving tools empower your participants to raise more. So how do we run a successful peer-to-peer event today, especially when participants are still a little nervous about returning to in-person events? Well, virtual events is where we are now in 2021. And a recent study that we did here at Qgiv called Navigating the Unknown, we see that 24% of nonprofits plan to run only a virtual event in 2021. 46.2% plan to include virtual components in their event calendar, and 3.5% are returning to in-person only events. But what about your supporters? Supporters are used to it. 24% of supporters have participated in a virtual fundraising event in 2020. We also see that virtual events actually bring in larger gifts. And for those that are still nervous about in-person events virtual events are a great way to reach them. And why? Because when your organization offers that virtual component, you expand who can participate in your event. In-person events limit you to a specific location. Virtual events can be participated in from anywhere. Peer-to-peer events are perfect for the current environment and when we actually reach to that post-pandemic world in a more normal state. The flexibility offered by peer-to-peer fundraising makes it easy on your nonprofit to raise the crucial funds that you need. Some events work naturally in the virtual environment, such as trivia and gaming nights. We see do-it-yourself campaigns rising in popularity, which is also a great way for your organization to empower participants to raise funds. We also see virtual work for the typical in-person events. Events such as 5Ks, bike-a-thons, any activity-based event can be hosted virtually, and you can track them on an activity app. And when we return to what we say a more normal state, these events can easily transition back to in-person and still maintain that virtual component. So in the future, we think that hybrid events will be the way to go. What hybrid events do is they combine the in-person element and the virtual components, so supporters can participate in your event from anywhere. Virtual provides freedom. As we discussed a minute ago, it's not limited to a specific location. Supporters can participate from anywhere. In-person is a great experience for those that can and want to attend and take part in the fun that they've missed in those in-person events. Hybrid events also have an element of exclusivity that can be very beneficial for events. Your organization can offer a higher tier registration, such as a VIP package, for those that are looking for that in-person event. And overall, your organization will raise more when you offer both components. And the possibilities for your virtual fundraising ideas are endless. You have do-it-yourself campaigns where you empower supporters to fundraise for their anniversary, athletic events, memorials, birthdays. Even bike-a-thons, we're talking about those, will grow well within the virtual components and the hybrid model, and even Danceathons. But there are tons of other peer-to-peer fundraising ideas that your organization can take part in, including board campaigns, matching campaigns, COVID campaigns, food drives, virtual tours, garage sales, trivia, game night, and when we return to the hybrid events, you still have the races, the walks, the runs, the cycling. You still have all of those that you can put on. You have athletic events. You can do hiking, galas, lunchathons, virtual tables. We've seen over-the-edge fundraisers. We've seen an endless possibility of events coming out for peer-to-peer, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. So get creative. Peer-to-peer fundraising is a great tool for your organization. And Qgiv's peer-to-peer platform gives you all the tools that we've been discussing today and more, including fundraising pages for individual fundraisers and teams, gamification with badges and leaderboards, social media sharing tools, and the integration with Facebook fundraisers, fundraising emails, tools for your organizations and supporters, text giving, which your organization can set up an event keyword to communicate with your supporters, and offer a way for your participants to create their own custom keywords, and so that they can collect donations for themselves and for their teams all through text. And of course, enhance your donor data integrity and save time on reporting and data entry with a powerful Bloomerang integration. All you need to do is set up that integration within Qgiv, set it to automatic, and you're all done. But let's take a look at how those tools look now. So this is the back end of the Qgiv platform. So the first thing I want to show you is how easy it is to get your event set up in Qgiv. You can set up your event in less than 10 minutes by updating these 3 settings in the Qgiv dashboard. The first one, the event name. Sounds obvious, right? But choosing a great name for your event is important. And this area in the Qgiv dashboard is where you would put your name. We do recommend that you add a fundraising goal so you can show supporters fundraising progress during your event. A few other settings that I want to call out here include the event start and end dates, the event registration cutoff date. When you do eventually close registration, you can actually send a customized message onto that page. And when your event has been all wrapped up, you can actually redirect those events to a new event or let them know that it has been closed or ended. The next thing that we need to do is decide on our registration settings. So you'll need at least one of the following enabled to accept registrations for your event. The first one, individual registrations, and that sounds exactly as it is. This allows supporters to register and fundraise by themselves instead of joining a team. Likewise, team registration allows supporters to join a fundraising team to raise money on behalf of your organization. And there's a couple of other settings here to allow new participants to create new teams, allow participants to join existing teams, allow participants to change or leave teams. There's a whole bunch of settings here for teams that your organization can use to raise more funds. And the last one that I want to call out here is the non-fundraising participant. So this is a supporter that doesn't want to raise money for your organization, but they still want to participate in your event. So for example, someone that wants to actually run in your 5K, but they don't want to actually do all the fundraising to do that. And you can do that with the non-fundraising participants. If you would like supporters to be able to sign up multiple people or allow supporters to give a donation during the registration process, you can enable those features right here. So that's it for the main event settings that we need to set up. So that's 2 out of the 3, but really quickly, I wanted to cover some of the other interesting settings that we have in the dashboard before we move on. Your organization will actually be able to set up personal fundraising goals for individual fundraisers and teams right here. You'll be able to enable the setting to accept recurring donations within the process. You'll be able to enable something called Gift Assist, which allows supporters to optionally assist with the processing fees for the donation. You can enable matching gifts, and here at the bottom, we can add default avatars for both our individual fundraisers and for our fundraising teams. So the next thing that we need to do is to add a category for people to register. This is the last step that we need to do before we can actually start accept registrations. And categories is essentially what your registrants are going to register as or register for. As you can see here, we already have a few categories set up here based on age and participation, whether they're going to be in the walk, whether they're going to volunteer, or if they want to be a non-fundraiser. And I did see a chat coming up here. What is a good target audience for this type of peer-to-peer fundraiser? If we're talking about, we can cover that one at the end, I apologize. As you can see here, we have a few categories set up. And this is how, and now we're ready to start accepting registrations. One thing that I do want to call out here before we move on is something called classifications. So think of classifications as another way to organize participants or teams. So for example, you can see here that we have classifications set up for different phone companies. This is one way to organize teams based on company. Another example would be to add classifications for different event locations if your organization is hosting multiple events at different locations. So one of the final things that we want to do before we actually open up our registration is to spruce up our event. And we'll do that through Qgiv's Event Builder. Qgiv's Event Builder is a simple to use drag and drop editor. You'll be able to change different things on this page to match your branding, such as the colors. You'll be able to upload a banner here at the top, and you can drag and drop different widgets from over here and add them to your fundraising page. It's that easy. You'll be able to add text, buttons, social feeds, videos, fundraising thermometers, sponsors, and way more when you're using the Event Builder. Now, this is just the home page itself. Your organization will be able to create default fundraising pages for individuals and teams, which I'll show you here. You'll be able to set, these are the types of fundraising pages that you can create. You can even customize your fundraising leaderboard, tying back to the gamification tools that we were talking about earlier. And you can customize your storefront right here, all within the Qgiv platform itself. And you can even create custom pages. So if you don't find a page that you like, you can just go ahead and add a new page here. The Qgiv platform is super easy to use and very customizable based on what your organization needs out of the platform itself. So let's hop out of here. And now we're ready to accept registrations. So as you can see, if we go to view our event and we click register, our registration is open and we can register as a fundraiser or as a fundraising participant. The next thing that I want to show you is a couple of other great features that we have within Qgiv itself. The first one, promo codes. Your organization will have the ability to set up custom promo codes for registration. You'll be able to enter the code here, such as run, provide a brief description of what that promo code does, give the actual discount. So that can be either a flat fee of what the discount is or a percentage of the fee itself. You can set start and end dates for your promo code, and you can actually tie these to specific categories here. So for example, if we only wanted to provide a discount to senior members that sign up for our event, we can do that right here. And all we have to do is save that promo code. And that will only be able to be used with that specific category on the registration page. The next thing, custom fields. This is another great feature here that your organization can use. So you'll be able to collect the basic information out of the box with Qgiv. But if you need more, you can add custom fields to get additional information from your registrants, such as their search size, or if they're interested in volunteering. There are a few different types of fields that you can create, such as a dropdown, a text box, and a checkbox. You can also associate this field with a specific category that we have set up previously. So for example, with our volunteer station here, we're asking them which table that they want to volunteer for, and we only have that tied to our volunteers. So when someone does select that option, they will see this field itself and select where they want to volunteer at our event. The next thing, the virtual store. The virtual store is a great way for your organization to not only sell branded merchandise from your nonprofit, but to raise more. So here you'll be able to set up basic store settings and add products. For example, we have our Qgiv coaster here. All the basics for merchandise are included here, like the name, the description, if the attributions of that coaster, what the base cost is, what the amount of quantity that gets purchased per item, and what your current stock is remaining in the store itself. So the last thing, and very important, are the badges. The badges are part of that, are an important part of your success, as we discussed earlier, and those live here in the Qgiv dashboard. You have the ability to use default badges, such as these here at the top fundraiser and fundraising achieved, or you can upload a custom fundraising badge here at the bottom, like this fancy one here. I'm kind of a big deal. But what I really wanted to show you is what your supporters will see and how they can use the Qgiv platform to raise more for your organization. So this is the fundraising dashboard that supporters will gain access to once they register to fundraise for your organization. And right off the bat, you can see that there's a lot of things that your supporters can do. Let's dive in here. The first thing that we want to cover, though, is the welcome quest. The welcome quest will guide your supporters through the fundraising dashboard and get them started on their fundraising journey. It's like setting up a LinkedIn profile. And our data from the Qgiv platform shows that users that earn at least one badge raised an average of $306. So earning their welcome quest badge is one of the great things that you can do to get them started on their fundraising journey and raise more money for your organization. So the first thing that you'll notice with the welcome quest itself is that supporters can complete the welcome quest and then earn the badge. It's a simple step-by-step way for users to engage with the platform, and they click on a specific step and it will actually take them to that area within the dashboard. So a few things that we can do here, we can actually upload a custom profile picture. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to upload one of my custom profile pictures if I can find. I'm going to upload my animals. And boom, we're done. It's that easy. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to update our personal fundraising page. So here, as you can see, I'm the team captain of Zoomies. I have all of my badges here. I have my fundraising thermometer going. I have a leaderboard, and I'm going to go ahead and customize it. And I'm going to ask my supporters to raise funds, to help me raise money. Boom, update. I'm done. I'm done with that one. I'm going to cross that one off. The next thing that we're gonna look at is sending a fundraising email. I didn't save my changes. That's my fault. So you'll see here within the email dashboard itself is that they have a couple of options that they can do to go ahead and get started and send out an email itself. When they get into this email area, the first thing that they can do is either use one of these. Do they want to email their donors? Do they want to contact their team? Or do they just want to send a customized email? Supporters that click on, let's say, the email here to email supporters, all they need to do is give it a title. And this is just for the internal use for your supporters. So they can keep fundraising emails organized. This isn't going to affect the actual sending of it. That'll be of the subject line itself. So I'm going to make this my fundraising email. And I'm going to say, hi, donate to my cause, if I could spell today. You'll also see here that they'll have a couple of default templates that they can use, for example, from the participant themselves, and they can ask others to donate. This will populate the email here for your supporters. They can even copy and paste a list of email addresses down here for their send list. They also have the option to import a list of emails and decide when they want to and select that here on who they want to send it to. And the options here give your supporters maximum flexibility with fundraising emails, especially having the ability to automate their sends down here. So as you can see, when should we send this email? First, you can see that we can send that immediately, but we also have this automation within Qgiv that says, when I reach a percentage of my fundraising goal, let's call it 25%, I can now send out a new email to my supporters and raise more funds. I can set it to go out on a specific date at a specific time, or I can send them out periodically. If I want to send a weekly update, if I want to send a monthly update, I can do all of those options from here. Now, one of the other great things that we've been talking about here is the aspect of social sharing. And your supporters can connect all of their social media accounts through here, like Facebook and Twitter. For example, when they can connect their social accounts through here. They'll be able to connect to their personal fundraising page or their team's fundraising page if they have it set up. They can go ahead and customize what they're posting to the Facebook platform. And it's the same thing with Twitter. These are really great options for your organization to utilize with your support to help empower your supporters to raise more funds. The final thing that I really want to call out here is this Facebook integration. We make it super easy for your supporters to get started And as soon as they click on this, it'll automatically set up that donation form with Facebook itself. One of the really, really cool things about the Facebook fundraiser integration itself is that even if a donor donates on the Facebook platform itself for your supporter, they will still be able to, you'll still be able to see that information with Qgiv. That data, all of that information will be automatically carried over from the Facebook donation page to your reporting, and you'll be able to see all of that within your fundraising dashboard. It's just one of those other great things that your organization can utilize within the Qgiv platform itself. Your organization will also have the ability to edit some default settings for your organization and supporters within the fundraising dashboard itself. So when you go here to social settings, you'll be able to connect your fundraising, your social media accounts here. You'll be able to add some default content for them to share. You can add, including a brief description of what can be included. You can also include social templates, and this is specifically for Twitter. So those are another way for your organization to empower your supporters to raise more. We also have the ability for you to customize the fundraising email templates that we showed earlier in the system within the email settings here. So all you would need to do is go in here, click edit, and that'll pull up a simple WYSIWYG for you to edit. You can even send a test here. You have full power to do this. So if you want to say, I appreciate everything that you do, you can go ahead and you can save that template, and that will automatically apply for your participants within the dashboard itself. And you can even set up email campaigns to communicate with your supporters from your organization. And you'll have the full power of that automation that we discussed earlier. So you can send out an email right now. You can send out an email at a specific time and date to your choosing. And you can even send out based on a specific rule. So for example, if you see that one of your supporters has reached a percentage of their goal, you can send out a super encouraging email to them to say, hey, I see that you're doing a great job. I want to continue to support you, and we're here to help you raise more funds. That is one of the great things about our platform and the ability and the power within peer-to-peer fundraising. You can also, with the last login, so let's say you had a supporter log in a couple weeks ago and you just haven't heard from them. They haven't been raising a lot of money. You can actually they haven't logged in for the last 7 days. Go ahead and trigger an email. Try to get them back and engaged in fundraising for your organization. If you also want to provide additional resources for your supporters, such as images, additional email templates that they can copy and paste and create their own. If you wanted to provide a couple of FAQs for your organization or a fundraising quick guide, you can do that all in here, and that will actually show up within their fundraising dashboard right here. Also, through the Qgiv platform, you are able to use text giving. So your organization can use text giving to communicate with your supporters, to increase registrations, or to encourage your fundraisers to keep going. Supporters can also set up their own keyword, and that will help them accept donations through text message for your organization. And the last, but very not least thing, is going into the reporting itself and showing you the Bloomerang integration through Qgiv. So this lives under our reporting and service integrations. And service integrations like Bloomerang are all offered in this section. We've already created our Bloomerang integration here, but if you click on this gear icon, you'll be able to see all of the default settings that we have set up for our integration with Bloomerang. For instance, if I needed all of my Qgiv information to go into a specific fund and a specific campaign and a specific appeal, I can do that all right here. And then all I have to do is click save, and all of those settings will be saved. I also have the option up here to do a manual export or a manual. You also have a couple of other options here, such as specifying an end date for your export, whether or not you want to exclude offline and matching donations, if you wanted to enable soft credits, and mark donations as acknowledged. There's also another really cool thing here, and it's a little hidden, but if you click on this down arrow here, you gain access to a couple of other settings that you can do. And this is called the optional mappings. For example, I can create a new export type for our peer-to-peer fundraiser. I can add a mapping. I can select our specific data that I want to map over. And I want to map this to our Bloomerang 5K for our fund and our campaign. All I need to do is click save. And then run the export, and all of that information will be mapped over into that specific area within my Bloomerang account. And then I can also set up different for a special appeal too. So I only did the fund and the campaign itself, but you can also set up for a specific appeal too if you're running something special during your campaign. You can also create a custom mapping here for the custom fields that we created earlier within the Qgiv system itself. So let's say I wanted to map over our new t-shirt field. I can do that here, right here, click save, and there we go. I now have a new custom mapping that goes over to Bloomerang itself. So a shared client of Bloomerang and Qgiv, Bikes Not Bombs, is just one example of an organization that is succeeding using the integration with Bloomerang and Qgiv. If you visit the Qgiv website, you will find many more examples and testimonials for clients that love the Qgiv Bloomerang integration. So let's talk a little bit more about the peer-to-peer package and pricing. So Qgiv's peer-to-peer package is $229 a month, or you can pay quarterly at $597 and save a little money. With the peer-to-peer package, your organization will gain access to all of the features that we discussed today, including the event builder, gamification tools, the virtual store, peer-to-peer text giving, matching gifts, and a fundraising hub to display progress of all of your fundraising campaigns. The peer-to-peer package also includes our start package, which has a bunch of great features like our year-round donation forms and our standard event registration forms. And the best thing about Qgiv, we have no long-term contracts, and you can add or remove packages as needed based on your organization's fundraising initiatives. If you're running a P2P event for Giving Tuesday and only need peer-to-peer for a month, no problem. Need registration for 6 months? We have you covered. Just pay the monthly or quarterly cost as needed for your fundraising initiatives, and then you can downgrade whenever you need to. And we have so much more. Qgiv offers a comprehensive suite of fundraising tools for all of your organization's needs. The data package here is needed for the Bloomerang integration, but you also gain access to a lot of other great features, such as email integrations, custom reporting, donor summaries, offline donations and registrations, and advanced statistics after being with Qgiv for a little bit about lapsed donors. You can also upgrade to the mobile suite package. Peer-to-peer text giving is included with your peer-to-peer package, but mobile suite is different, and it offers another layer for your organization to fundraise for your event. And finally, we also do have auction event package here at Qgiv. You'll be able to host unlimited auction events and be able to offer multiple bidding, including app-based and web-based. There's a lot of great features in the auctions package, so I would highly encourage that you check it out. And if you ever need more, then the Everything package has you covered. All of our digital fundraising tools are in this one plan, ensuring nonprofits are providing a strong multi-channel approach with tools that can support year-round giving and point-in-time campaigns. It's a great plan. You do need to pay pre-annually, but it's a great investment if you're going to use all of the features that we discussed. And now, Diane, I'll hand it back to you for the Q&A.
Thanks, Justin. That was awesome. We have a couple questions here. How does Qgiv integrate with the website, with their specific website platform? Can you code inject the forms to any web platform?
So are we talking about our donation forms or event registrations?
Both, perhaps?
With the peer-to-peer system specifically, Brendan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we don't. That is on the Qgiv website itself. The registration forms can't be embedded on an external site.
That's correct, Justin. Yeah, so the peer-to-peer system is a standalone. Think of it as a standalone website with multiple pages and multiple CMS functionalities that are built in to customize those pages. But it is a standalone web address. Now we can add custom domains if you prefer to have your organization's domain. There is a $200 annual cost to that. So that's on the peer-to-peer and auction front. They kind of operate the same. On our standard forms, those can be embedded. So they are in widget form and can be embedded into your website to completely mask the Qgiv domain in favor of your own web address.
Great, thanks. And we had an earlier question here we wanted to go back to. What's a good target audience for these types of peer-to-peer fundraising?
So it depends on which you're talking about. I mean, if you're talking for a 5K, you're going to look for athletic types, which can range from any group and age. If you're looking at some gaming nights, again, you got to find the target audience that you're appealing to. Gaming nights may be more for our younger generation, the people that like that type of streaming content and things like that. Whereas your trivia nights may be towards your older generation and Gen X and the baby boomers. It all depends on what type of event you're going to be hosting and what your audience is going to look like at that point. So there's a wide variety of what you can do. It just depends on how creative and what you're looking to go for.
Yeah.
And I'd do a call back quickly, Diana, there to something you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation, Justin, which I think is very relevant in these days. Constituents are more and more accepting of these different types of peer-to-peer initiatives, especially the virtual version. So while yes, the different types of events are going to dictate who's going to be more likely to attend, I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and it's really up to you all to sit down with your team and decision makers and decide, which would be the best for our constituent base. We're happy to help if you have some ideas and want to bounce them off some experts on our side. We'd be happy to take a call and sit down with you and help you decide.
I love that too. And I mean, your constituents best, but for the most part, I think constituents will be happy to support any kind of fundraising event that you would have. And if that's the beauty of peer-to-peer too, if that's not necessarily their thing, they will probably or likely know someone who can help them out with that and help with that peer-to-peer campaign. But thanks, Brandon. And I love that about you can always talk through each other as well and talk through some of the experts at Qgiv and see some of the samples that have been done in the past and see what will resonate with you and your constituents. We have a question here from Garrett. Do we have Instagram and TikTok social media linking?
It is not out of the box. So it would have to be like custom text. So what we were showing you before with our text widgets, you could add a custom link there if you would like. We do not have anything out of the box for that Instagram and TikTok social media sharing.
And what is the difference between the mobile transaction and the peer-to-peer transaction? Mm-hmm. Don has noticed that they are different prices.
Yeah, so with the peer-to-peer text giving that we were talking about before, that is included within the peer-to-peer package itself. So that gives you an option to set up a custom keyword for your organization to accept donations for that event itself. And that also empowers your participants to do that as well. So they can set up a custom keyword and accept donations either based on like their team, or if they want to set up that keyword for their own individual fundraiser themselves, they can do that. With the mobile suite, and I'll actually go back to that slide. With the mobile suite, that is what we call through our text to donate. So you can communicate outbound to your participants through the mobile suite itself. You'll be able to accept pledges as well and send out reminder messages to them to actually complete that donation once they do pledge it. We also enable you to have subscription lists. So for example, if you wanted users to opt into company updates, if you want them to opt into different types of event reminders that are coming up, or if you just want to have them opt into different communications of when you want to send a year-round fundraising appeal or a year-end fundraising appeal, you can do that through the mobile suite itself. You'll also gain access to the FundHub Live feature. So that is also, FundHub is included within the peer-to-peer, but the live version allows your organization to actually set up a specific landing page for the event and include the keyword and actually show the different donors that are donating to your organization and show that live with a fundraising thermometer. Do you have any other questions on the difference between those?
Yes, Dawn, if you have additional questions or follow-up questions to that, let us know. I did want to say I love that fundraising or campaign thermometer.
Yeah, it's great.
It's always great seeing that progress that you have toward that goal. We have a question here. I think we might use our combined powers to answer this question. Susan asks, is there a way to track fundraisers in the mapping integration so we can pull reports from Bloomerang to reflect our fundraisers only? I was going to start with, so when somebody had asked a question earlier as well, what does it mean that Bloomerang integrates with Qgiv? And all your Qgiv data, you can have that seamlessly flow into your Bloomerang database. And that includes soft credits if you choose. And Justin or Brendan, you can correct me if I misspeak, but if you have peer-to-peer fundraisers who set up their own pages, you can set that up so that those peer-to-peer fundraisers are soft credited in your Bloomerang database. So not only will the donation come into Bloomerang, but it will also automatically add that soft credit to whosever page they donated through or through whosever page they gave through. And you can report on that soft credits. And in Bloomerang as well, you can report on all transactions that have come in from Qgiv. So if you just take a look at your filter, the filter is called created by. So run a transaction report, filter by created by, and type in Qgiv. That's going to give you all the transactions that came in through Qgiv. If you want to take a look at just your fundraisers, you can filter for the type as soft credit, and that's going to show you all their soft credits. You can add additional information like who the actual donor name was and the original donation amount. You can group it by the soft credit or group it by your fundraiser, so you can also track how much your fundraisers are raising toward your goal. Is there anything that I'm missing, Justin or Brandon?
No, you nailed that. That was perfect as far as how the soft credits operate, and just know that on top of those reports that are part of the Bloomerang system, you also have standalone reports that'll do the same thing on the Qgiv side. So there's definitely redundancy in the ways that you can dig into that data and in order to message accordingly. Obviously, that's the point, is being able to segment and message to those donors and just track from a record keeping standpoint. So no, you nailed it. That was perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can run reports in Qgiv, you can run reports in Bloomerang. It's just a matter of what do you need? What are you going to do with that data next? What do you need in the report itself? And create your reports from there. And if you ever get stuck along the way, you can always reach out to Qgiv. You can always reach out to Bloomerang. We will be happy to get you that report that you need and the information, the exact information that you need in those reports. So thanks for that question, Susan. We have a question here from Dawn. Is there an extra cost from Bloomerang for linking Qgiv?
From Bloomerang, no. The cost is held in our data package. So it's either $10 a month if paid quarterly or $15 month to month. So that's the additional fee on top. And as Justin mentioned, sorry, we have a lot of Justins in our company, so we go by last names. As Justin mentioned, there are other aspects of that data package that are incredibly beneficial when it comes to some of our custom reporting or year-over-year comparisons that are just included on top of that integration functionality.
Awesome. Thank you for that question, Dawn. Cool. And we still have a lot of time for questions, but as you may be thinking about your own question, I wanted to ask a question of our friends from Qgiv today, Justin or Brendan. Are there any examples or favorite examples you've seen of some peer-to-peer events that have been hosted through Qgiv?
I can think of a couple. We had a really cool event come through that it was still during the middle of the pandemic. So the organization was trying to do something very, very safe in the COVID bubble, but also still be able to do that type of fundraising through peer-to-peer. And what they did, it was called Raising the Rent. And what the organization did is they set up a peer-to-peer event so that participants could actually join a team. And it was like for their own home setup itself. So for example, I would register myself and I would invite my friends and family to join me at my house for my fundraising event. And that's how I would raise funds for the organization. So it was kind of like, I would call it like the Cook household type of team itself. So on the actual day in which they hosted the event, they actually did a fundraising auction on top of it. So when I invite all of my friends and family over, I also give them access and talk to them about the fundraising auction that Raising the Rent was hosting. And it was a really cool event. They got a lot of great engagement. And I think it was a really cool way for an organization to get really creative within the COVID environment itself. It's hard to do those in-person events and break out of the little COVID bubble that we had then. So that was a really great example of a safe type of fundraiser that they could host. We've seen, and Brendan, you can chime in when you want. We've seen a lot of other like live streams for games. The do-it-yourself campaigns are also very popular.
Yeah, the most recent one that I saw was actually a replacement for a Bowl for Kids' Sake. If you all are familiar with the Big Brothers Big Sisters, kind of their most popular fundraiser, they had decided in the previous year to not do their Bowl for Kids' Sake, and then this year they decided to actually replace it with a scavenger hunt. So it was a virtual scavenger hunt that they did in conjunction. It was kind of combining Qgiv with some functionality that they found in a scavenger hunt app, a virtual scavenger hunt app, and it actually performed really well for them. It certainly didn't bring in the same funds that it had the Bowl for Kids' Sake event would typically bring in, but it was a great way to replace that revenue with obviously no overhead. So it was a really, really cheap and easy way to do it. I think we've written a Bright Idea post about that if anyone's interested. It's on our blog. It was a really cool one. We're looking to actually partner with that event company as well, the scavenger hunt company, to see if we can make it easier and easier for our clients to do that. We just really liked the way that it was innovative and kind of outside of the box, and obviously they had a lot of engagement too. So it was a good win all the way around.
And another cool one, I'll bring this one up too. I actually mentioned it a little bit earlier, was the Danceathon. So they were looking to, again, provide that experience in the hybrid environment itself. And normally with the Danceathon, they would bring in an instructor in person, and everyone would come to the event, and they would do their dance and learn a little bit and things like that. And what they did is they actually turned that into more of a hybrid approach, in which those that wanted to join the in-person with the instructor itself, they were able to. But for all of the other participants that did not want to come in, but still wanted to participate virtually, they offered that virtual component as well. So all they had to do was live stream the event based on whatever platform that they wanted to. I believe that one was through Facebook itself. There's a couple of other live streams out there that you can do that through, like YouTube. And it went really well. A lot of kids signed up. It was a great activity for those that wanted to join. They had a lot of great engagement, and I believe we've written one on that as well. Another Bright Idea on that. We've written one on the Raising the Rent too. So if you guys are interested in those, we're more than happy to send them your way.
I love that. I love all of those ideas, all of those different ideas. And I love how that first one incorporated different tools as well. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a peer-to-peer event, but you're bringing in other elements to it that raises more money as well. Right. And Brendan, I love what you said too about, your supporters and your constituents might have some ideas, or they might come to you with like, oh, I want to do this. Like, it's a great way to gather people in this time, or constituents are getting creative in terms of like, I've seen stuff too of like, oh, it's my birthday and I'm raising funds for this organization instead. So I love it. I think it's great to really widen your reach and be creative, and let your constituents be creative as well. Thank you for those samples. Mm-hmm. I love, I'm going to have to check out your blog and check out those others' ideas as well. I love getting all those different ideas. we have just a couple of minutes left. So if you have additional questions for everyone, let us know. In the meantime, I'd also, I'm going to launch a poll. If you would like a follow-up, if you have follow-up questions or you need help getting set up with Qgiv and getting that connected with your Bloomerang database, please let us know. In the meantime, I don't see any other open questions right now. So Justin, do you have any parting thoughts for our friends today regarding peer-to-peer fundraising?
Yeah, like we were talking about before, it is a great way to engage your supporters right now. And it's going to be a great tool for your organization to use when we do go back into that more normal state. And hybrid events is definitely going to be the way to go. Hybrid offers that flexibility that we discussed. You can still offer that in-person experience that a lot of your supporters will be craving here, and probably already are. But also with the hybrid model, you don't have to narrow yourself to one location. You can actually expand that reach and the freedom to the rest of the United States if that's where your supporters are. You can expand that reach. You're beyond the limits there. So, and also something that we've seen is just get creative. We've seen a lot of creative ideas come out from not only 2020, but still through 2021 through the whole pandemic. As we did, the scavenger hunt was incredibly great idea. The raising the rent and having those types of COVID parties was another great example as well. And do-it-yourself campaigns, I was going to mention this before we hopped off. Those are great campaigns because those aren't limited to a specific event that your organization is hosting. All you have to do is set up the peer-to-peer event on your side and then offer that to participants when they have a specific need to fundraise. So for example, if they want to raise funds for your organization for their birthday, they can go register as a participant and actually get started and raise funds for your organization throughout the year. It doesn't have to be limited to just that point in time. So there's a lot of power within peer-to-peer. There's a lot of things that your organization can do, and I would highly suggest that you check it out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Justin, for all of the wonderful information today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, spending part of your afternoon with us, learning all about peer-to-peer fundraising. I hope this gives you something to think about. And if you haven't already tried peer-to-peer events, it's not that hard, and you have amazing tools that can help you make your peer-to-peer event or hybrid events be successful. So thank you again for joining us today. Thank you, Justin and Brendan. And we hope to see you all again in another Academy class soon. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.